Hey everyone, thanks for joining again for the Showcase Dev Elevate program. And guess what? Today we have Shruti with us. I think Shruti doesn't need any introduction, but still it's my duty to do that. So Shruti, as you know, she is a content creator, she is a YouTuber. You find her on the Twitter, she has her ebook, she is a full stack developer, and she likes to keep things simple for the beginners. So it's my privilege and pleasure, Shruti, to have you here and get a chance to kind of interact and chat with you, right? You want to elaborate this introduction a bit?
Yeah, hi, hello everyone. It's my pleasure indeed to be a part of this today. Before I continue, I just want to let you know that I'm on my phone, and in case the battery goes down, I'll have to take a minute to go get the charger and plug it in. Otherwise, I think this will go seamless. Yeah, thank you so much for introducing me. I think the entire session itself will become an introduction. So, yeah, for now we can keep it simple here. And thank you everyone for joining in. Yes, Tapas.
Cool. So yeah, I think today's session we want to keep it a bit interactive, but I want to know is like to start with like your session calls is like live your dream life, right? And start your content creation journey. So there is a relationship between the dream life and the content creation, at least for you. So if you
Yes.
just kind of start unfolding that, that will be really set the tone for this call.
Yeah, I think perfect. So to unfold that, I think let me share my current career or what exactly that I do and what my day looks like. So you'll really know that I am living my dream life right now. I'm a mother of a 5-year-old boy. So if you have either if you're a parent yourself like Tapas, or if you have a niece or nephew, or if you know kids, your neighbors' kids, you know that kids take a lot of attention and a lot of your time, right? So being a mother, it's even more. You'll have to be present for them, 100% of the time, literally. So I, as a mother, I want to be present for my child whenever, almost throughout the day, whenever he needs me. So that's my first priority. That's how I want to live my life, that I want to first be there for my child, because these are the first few years that they really need you. And based on that, I wanted to choose my career. And if you know, there are very few part-time jobs available that really respect you, or really value you. If it's part-time, then I think even the value is only half. Correct? That's how it is. And you don't even get paid half the amount. That's one thing. And another thing is, a lot of mothers, they take up teaching at a school nearby or at a college, because those timings are much shorter, and they'll be able to adjust their career accordingly. But I didn't want to do either of them, and I wanted complete control of my time, mainly, right? So what I knew that a normal developer job would not suit my needs. That's not how I could go forward. But then I didn't know what path to take. Clearly, where I am right now, I didn't exactly plan it. 5 years back, I didn't write down, my next 5-year plan, and then, nothing like that. It didn't go that way. But what happened was, I started creating content, right? Firstly on Twitter, right? And I started writing some blogs, and then I started creating some YouTube videos. Now, what happened was, people started recognizing, they started understanding my value, or rather, they were able to see my knowledge, right? Otherwise, how can you see how knowledgeable somebody is if you just give your resume? You've just listed the stuff you've done so far, or even if you say put up some projects, people have to literally go inside the project and see. Only if someone's that interested, like if somebody is hiring you, they will do that. They will probably look into the code and then try to understand how knowledgeable you are. But if you want to put it across to the audience of how knowledgeable you are, the only way to do that is to share it, and to share it in a way that they can understand, right? So that's something I started doing, because I started seeing on Twitter that a lot of people are sharing their knowledge. They might not be experts, they might not be like very senior developers or something, but whatever they know, wherever they are in their journey, they
Right.
start sharing their knowledge. That's what I started doing, and I was surprised that slowly people started approaching me for creating content for their platform. So
Hmm.
it first started with CSS itself. I got approached by a company called Big Binary, which said, we really like the way you share your content. So can you create a course for us? I said, yeah, why not? So that's how it started. And then, slowly LinkedIn Learning approached me saying, we want you to become our instructor. We've seen your Udemy course and we've seen your YouTube videos. I said, wow. And then, now I'm also an instructor at Laracasts, which is, I don't know how many of you are Laravel developers here, but that's like the official, channel source of Laracast is like, god level. Nobody even goes to YouTube if they have Laracasts in
Hmm.
Laravel ecosystem. That's how it is. I'm an instructor there as well. And so right now I work only for about 3 hours a day, if I'm lucky, that is. Otherwise, I work even less, and this is only on weekdays. And then I work from wherever I want, of course, completely remote because I'm a work for myself. And I create courses, I create tutorials, I write my newsletter, I share content on Twitter, and I pretty much create content entirely. And just for 3 hours a day, I get to learn new stuff and write about it. Learn new stuff, build some projects, create a video on it, learn something new, and figure out if this needs to be simplified for people.
Yeah.
That's what I do. That's what I do for my living. And that was just 3 hours a day. It doesn't even seem like working, right? That's why I said I am currently living my dream life. If you check out my Twitter bio, that's what it says, right? Creating courses, blah blah blah, and living a dream life, because that's true. This is what my day looks like, and my income is, I think, totally comparable to somebody with at least 6 to 7 years experience as a developer in a normal company, or even a better one. Maybe not FANG
Hmm.
companies, but definitely a better one. And I don't have to work 9 to 5 or even 8 hours a day and things like that. So that's what I meant. That's why the title today says that.
That's really really great, and I think some of the story I knew before, and it's great that you're sharing today with all of us. It's really inspiring. One question that I have is like you told that you have to work for say 3-4 hours on the weekdays. Is that enough for you to create content which are like very involved? So for example, sometime it might happen like there is a client demand, and you have to really finish it off, and you have to really be focusing on these things. How do you kind of pre-plan? I'm just trying to get into your journey of content creation. How do you plan stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, if you've heard of this, work expands itself to fill in the time you have, right? So, the more time you have, your work takes, if you have 20 days for a deadline, it definitely takes 20 days. But if
Yes.
you have only 5 days, you somehow can fit it in 5 days and finish it. Usually, that's what happens with me. And creating content is a creative process, right? So if your brain is in that right mindset at that point of time, you can probably create something within an hour. All right.
Hmm.
But if there's a block in your mind, if you're not able to think properly, that can take days together. You will not be able to simplify it in a way that you want to. Even if you write something, you'll not be satisfied. You'll discard that. If you create a video, you'll definitely not feel like this is what this. You'll feel this is not creative enough, or
Yeah.
you'll feel this is not going right. Right. But that mindset is what is most important. If that comes in, then you can finish a lot of stuff in 1 hour, right? And for me personally, that mindset comes the night before. Like all engineering students, the night before the exam, the night before the internals, that's when you study, that's when you
Right.
are able to really understand the concepts, right? Trust me, even for creating content, that applies. So I somehow I end up waiting till the deadline approaches, and my brain works extremely fast. I'll be able to create the content it requires. I've tried a lot, not to do this and plan ahead and try to complete something little in advance so that in the last moment I'm not very stressed. I haven't been able to figure out yet how to do that.
Mm.
I end up doing much better when the deadline is approaching. So that's my
Got it.
process, which is not, yeah, which is not the best, but yeah, let's see. I might improve
So
someday.
so you work best when you are like in a situation which is like very stressful and kind of drive you like, hey, you have to finish it in 2 days and things like
Yes.
that. Just tell me this. As you have been creating content for a while now, I'm sure that some of the content that you have created in the past maybe also helping out to create content which you are actually going to create for new clients or the new folks, right? That particular experience matters a lot, right? You don't have to always start from the scratch pad kind of stuff, right?
Yes, absolutely. Once you've created content, it only adds on. Like sometimes you figure out certain templates or certain way to do things. Like nowadays, whenever I create a YouTube video, I write down the entire script. Somehow, yes,
Mm.
it does take a lot of time to write down the script, but the recording time is reduced,
Mm.
and even the editing time is reduced to a lot. So that process, I arrived at that process after maybe 30 to 40 videos. But now it's seamless. Now I know what to do. Now I know that I first need to probably figure out the demo that I'm going to show, and then write the title, and then write the script. And there are a lot of things that I copy from my previous videos, the intro, the outro, and so many things, tags that you have to write for YouTube and things like that. Even for the blog, this applies. The whole process: what do you write in your first para, how do you end the paragraph, I mean, so, how do you end the blog
Okay.
post,
Yeah.
and the theme, the tools that you use for
Mm.
say for sharing screenshots. All this, the first time you're creating content, you arrive at the process. It takes a few steps to get there, and once you get there, you know what works out for you the best. So not just the content, the process, the the tools that you use, techniques, templates, everything, even the examples, the demos, everything can be reused. It only gets better as you create more content.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's how we scale content creators. Yeah. I think there's a similar line. There's a question from Devjit. I'll just take that question before we move ahead. It's like, although it seems so straightforward, how much time and effort you put into creating this workflow, the workflow just now you spoke about.
Okay, yes, it seems straightforward now, but it did take a lot of effort. And initially, it feels like you're nowhere. I mean, you're nowhere close to making a living out of this or something like that. You feel it's taking a very long time, and you might never reach perfection, or you might never reach the expertise level that others are doing. Right now, if you look at me and the way I create videos or create content, I have started 2 years ago. YouTube journey, something I started 2 years ago. You can't compare my process to your process if you're starting right now, right? Because that's how I
Mm.
felt 2 years ago. It wasn't straightforward, and everybody has a different way of doing it, and it's not the same for all. You will have to figure out what works best for you. So I could say, if you ask me the exact number, it probably took me about say 10 to 12 videos to figure out what it is, and I did that quite quickly in the first YouTube journey of mine. I was creating 2 videos per week. So maybe in that way, it might have taken me 1.5 to 2 months to figure out. So this is about YouTube. About creating courses. Oh, my first course took 9 months to create. Yeah, of course, that is 2 hours a day is all I put in that time, but it still took nine months. So that's almost like, I think, 400 hours of work. Imagine that much amount it took, and I didn't even get anything from that course. I have
Mm.
put that course on YouTube because it didn't do well on Udemy. So the first one didn't go well, but now I know what worked out, what didn't work, and that experience definitely leads uh, to yeah, it's definitely helping me currently.
Great, great. Thanks for that point. So I want to kind of take the same discussion a little bit differently. So you told that your first one didn't do very well for you. Definitely from the monetization perspective, also you're probably thinking about, because you put a lot of effort. It probably didn't have a lot of ROI. And then now, if we see you and at least following your journey, you are doing better, much better than what it was for the first one, right? How
Yes.
did you fix it? What was that thing was missing, you think, in the beginning? Because many, aspiring content creators or people who are creating content for a long time but don't know how to monetize their content, it might be very useful for them.
Yes. The main thing that matters, it matters a lot. I think that is your audience. If you don't have a prior audience, no matter how good a content you create, whatever it could be world class, but there's a very, very, very less chance of it striking or clicking, right? Because nobody knows you. Nobody knows why they should buy your course. Nobody knows why they should, learn from you. Why you? What is the authority that you have? Okay, maybe you have a tag that you're probably the senior developer at Microsoft. Okay, maybe you're great at developing, but are you great at teaching also? Or why should I really follow your content? Are you good at explaining stuff? And this is the proof you need to develop by showcasing, by
Mm.
showcasing what exactly, how exactly your content will look like. And that's when you get a lot of audience. So it's a loop again. You get audience when you share content, and then you're able to share better content when you have more audience, and then you can monetize. So initially, if you don't have audience, don't expect to monetize much. Just build your audience, keep
Mm.
building by sharing content. I did that for almost I think 1 year on Twitter, without expecting anything out of it at all, without even trying to monetize or looking for ways to monetize. I just wanted to build my audience because I just wanted to let people know that I know this much, and you can
Yeah.
also know something, like just sharing content, just helping. I know this, maybe you don't know this, so let me help you. I have,
Mm.
reached here because certain seniors helped me, or there were a lot of Stack Overflow answers that I followed, and that's how I got here. So let me share these things with you on Twitter. If you know these, great. If you don't know this, then yeah, I'm just sharing. I'm not expecting anything out of this. And that's when I started building audience, and I thought, okay, let me get 10,000 followers on Twitter, and then I'll write an ebook. I didn't even know what ebook to write. But I waited for 10,000 followers because I saw that it succeeded with many other people. Somehow it had become a norm that, after 10,000 followers, you're supposed to write an ebook. And then I just, asked people that, okay, should I write an ebook, on CSS Flex and Grid, which with real world examples, because I didn't find any content similar to that. And I got a lot of responses. That's I felt, oh, okay. I wouldn't have got that many responses if I had like 200, 300 followers, right? Or even
Mm.
1,000, or that would also be less. So I wouldn't end up creating something so valuable. So building an audience was what changed. I created the course much before I had, an audience on Twitter. I didn't even have an active account there, and that's when I created the course. Nobody knew me, so nobody was able to find out about the course, and all I could do is share among my circle and a few people, but people didn't know who Shruti Balasa was. So that's why
Mm.
that failed. But after I've built an audience, whatever I've created has succeeded.
Great, great. I think this point is very important. Like, unless you have people to look into your content is not going to do any wonders. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So one another question that I have, Shruti, is like, for a content creator or a teacher, you probably playing both the roles. Learning is something is you have to, get going. Without keep learning, you really cannot create things, right? So
Yes.
what's your motivation, and or what it takes for you to kind of keep yourself relevant? Like, how do you do this?
Yeah, I love learning. One thing for sure. I'm sure a lot of other people in tech right now have that love for learning. They want to jump into new frameworks, learn new things, learn new languages. it's that's something that keeps us alive. But you have to set aside some time for that. Otherwise, it's very easy to just get into that loop of just sharing the content that you already know. But
Yeah.
you're soon going to uh, you know not have more content to share. The more, only if you learn something new you'll be able to share, or you'll have to either keep building stuff to get some
Insights.
content.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get some insights. You have to actively keep doing something. So what I do is I submit a talk or something about a topic that I absolutely know nothing about. Right? And now, once that talk gets approved, I feel this is a nice talk title, so let me just submit it. Right? And people think I know a lot about it. And then I start my research. Now, that's a lot of
Mm.
pressure, right? People are expecting something amazing out of you. It could not, it's not just a talk, it could be anything. You can even talk about it on meetups, or you can just announce on Twitter saying that next week I'm writing a blog about so and so. Or you can even do what Francisco on Twitter is doing right now. I think he's learning in public, right? He constantly live streams how he's learning. So that adds the pressure, the required pressure for you to learn new stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So I go and I announce saying, either I'm writing a book on this, or I'm creating a course on this, or I submit a talk title, or something like that. I do something very stupid, but that forces me to learn and do things. So that's my that's a tip if you'd want to do something like that.
Yeah, great. I think that the push that you kind of create for yourself and the drive that you kind of create for yourself, both for content creation and learning, is amazing. Something that to try out.
Yeah.
Um, once you started creating content, basically for say LinkedIn Learning or Udemy, and now you are an independent content creator. You're also writing ebooks. Um, your primary focus area, what I have seen, is like CSS, the area around that. Were you a front end developer in the beginning, or you were kind of a back end developer who translated into uh,
I was
front end developer?
I totally thought about myself as a backend developer because I would
Yeah.
be so bad at designing stuff. It was like extremely hard for me. I would first finish the backend. I would still design full stack apps because I was part of a startup where I was almost like the only technical person. It was startups related to events and other things. Since I was the only technical person, I had to do full stack, and I always used to struggle with front end. Backend, logic, database, everything would work. But
How did the
front
transition
end,
happen?
yeah, that really happened because of Tailwind CSS, right?
Hmm.
When I started working with Tailwind CSS, I somehow was able to create better designs that were more consistent with better color. Because Tailwind already has a great color palette, right? Even today, even if I'm not if I'm not developing using Tailwind, also I go to the color palette of Tailwind. I just pick up a color and I know that it looks way better than any color that I would choose. So slowly looking at Tailwind design and a lot of components, and I started following people like Steve Roger and Adam Wathan and many people who are extremely good at designing. I started following their tips and slowly got better. I still am not extremely comfortable at design. Yeah, I'm good at
Hmm.
CSS, which I later realized that those are two separate things. You might be great at CSS and not good at design. So if you're able to see a mock-up and able to do that in code, you're good at CSS. If you're not able to come up with a mock-up itself, then design skills is what you need to improve. So I realized, okay, so front end is again, yeah, two different, there are multiple aspects to
Hmm.
it, and that means I'm good at CSS actually. So that gave me a lot of confidence that it's design that I need to improve. Yeah. So I slowly
Good.
became, both front end and back end.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so this Tailwind CSS part, how much of knowing CSS in prior or not knowing CSS in prior helped you picked up Tailwind CSS faster?
Oh,
What
I knew
helped
a lot.
basically?
I knew
Oh,
a lot of CSS. I developed a lot in regular CSS, so it helped me pick it up much. As in, it speed, it boosted my development process or the speed. But I would say you don't have to know like 100%. It's definitely important to know the basics of CSS. Otherwise, you will
mm,
struggle with Tailwind as well.
mm.
So basics is something I absolutely recommend. And then only when you want to speed things up, then learn Tailwind.
Yeah, yeah, great advice. Because I have seen specifically on Twitter, there are a lot of people try to get into Tailwind, and they like what people have built with Tailwind, but they still can't use it because they don't know some of the
Yes.
basics of CSS. That's what I thought of kind of getting it clarified, right? Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
uh, good. So the next thing that I want to know is like, say someone just getting started with content creation, and maybe after watching this video they feel like, okay, content creation will be a great thing for me because I know a lot of stuff. I can actually put them into content, and maybe I'll be able to monetize them going forward, and I'll be able that will be my dream life, right? What kind of advice you'd give to that person who just thinking about content creation like this after watching this video?
So one thing, don't think about monetization as the end goal. You, this journey is not going to be great for you if you do that. Right? Think about content creation as first of all helping you learn. Right? That should be the first goal of content creation, because you're going to be disappointed if you keep that as your motivation or end goal, because every time you create a content you expect some return out of it, right? You expect
Mm,
some monetary benefit. You'll want to add a paywall, or you'll want to sell it. That's not going to work. It's not going to work initially, at least. Your first motivation should be to learn out of it should be learning and not earning. So don't ever get into this thinking that yeah, it's good to have that as a very long term goal, but don't get started with that thinking about monetization. Start sharing your work first. You'll know at least if this career is for you at all, right? If
mm,
content creation is adding a lot of stress, if it's not giving you the joy, it's not for everybody, right? Say maybe marketing is not for me. I do it anyway, but that kind of adds a lot of stress. Taking goals or saying that I'm going to reach $1,000 of revenue this month. That kind of adds a different kind of pressure. That pressure I can't take. So marketing is not for me, and there are a lot of other such careers that are not for me. I know that. That's how my brain works. So content creation may be or may not be for you. You'll have to figure that out by creating content and not expecting much out of it. You'll have to be consistent in your first 1 year at least. Figure out if it's giving you the joy. Figure out if people are liking it. So you might be enjoying creating content, but the other person might not really be benefiting from it. If very
mm,
small percentage of people are liking your content, or even, I mean, liking, I'm not saying, talking about the likes. I'm just saying,
mm.
even if they come across it, if they're giving you feedback that it's great, I learned a lot from it, then wonderful, keep going. But you know take feedback, and if people are not finding it useful, then you can make some changes and make it useful. Take that feedback seriously and then do it. So it has to go through a certain process. You will have to like it. You'll have to be able to add value to your audience, and then if you're able to build an audience with it, then think about monetization. So don't take this up as your mainstream work. Do this at the side. You can start with even 5 to 10 minutes a day, or you can go even for 30 minutes a day. Start building your audience by creating content first. Audience should be your first goal, and
Yeah,
monetization will follow if you're able to do that.
yeah, that's right. What kind of content you produce more? Is it like audio or video? I mean, written or the video? Which kind of content you produce more?
Yeah, currently video is more.
Okay. And is there any specific advantages that you do more video content than the written content, or is it just like you like to do that?
I feel I'm able to explain better when I do
Okay.
it through video and screencasts. than blogs, because when I write the blog itself, I feel like, hey, if this is a video, I can at least, I can say this is where you go. I can circle it better. I can do something like that.
Mm.
But if I'm writing a blog, I need to probably be good at some sort of graphics, at least some way I can take screenshots and explain better. I tend to go, towards the video, because one thing, yeah, I feel I can explain myself better, and two, I feel that works out better also. I have seen that YouTube videos, you know, I don't know, YouTube automatically has a great SEO, and the more people watch it, the more people are able to watch it. But with
Yeah.
blog, I haven't found my success yet through blogs. Like, there are very few articles of mine that has got good readership. So
Okay.
video has what has clicked with me.
Okay, so I'll ask a similar question that I asked to my other guest in Dev Elevate, program. They were mostly from the written content creator. They're mostly bloggers. You are YouTube. You are a YouTuber. I have started doing YouTube a lot, so I also have
Yes.
similar questions. Like, you are not someone who is English speaking by birth.
Yes.
Your accent and all other things are like way different than probably an English speaking person will do.
Yes.
Has it ever come across as a barrier to you, your thought process? If so, how have you overcome it, and how would someone deal with this?
Yes, it was definitely a barrier initially, and I there are few words that I still look up, and how to pronounce something, in that accent. Say, for example, wheat, the tool, right? I used to say white before. I don't know. I somehow started when I read it. I started reading it as white, though the document clearly says it's pronounced as, it's wheat, or not even wheat. It's just wheat. But that's not how I started pronouncing. So certain things which were very evidently wrong, I tried to,
Mm.
correct myself. Even while writing the scripts, I would somehow highlight those words, saying this is how you need to pronounce it, so that while speaking I remember. But eventually it doesn't matter. People will start getting used to that, those who really like your content, and those who don't will anyway find flaws, right? No matter what you do, it's not just your accent, it's probably your appearance. Because there was one comment on my initial YouTube video saying that, if only your nose didn't distract me, I would learn better. I mean, come on. So what, I get a plastic surgery done now? They find just anything to comment about. But so I make a little effort to pronounce certain words right.
Mm.
So that shouldn't become like a barrier for the learner. But otherwise, I think it's okay. People will get used to it. Not, I mean, all accents are different. If you see, there are a lot of people from the European countries whose accent is also very much different from native English speakers, and even there are a lot of success rates for their YouTube channels as well. So
Yeah.
you'll and my audience, a majority of my audience is from India anyway. I think about 60 to 70%. So they're most comfortable. The others struggle a little. Wait, I think they're used to it by now.
Good, good. Nice to know this perspective, because for the written content creator, I had the same question, and they also answered in a similar way. Like for written content, at least you take help from various tools. You have Grammarly and all other aspects that correct your stuff.
Correct.
But when you are doing a video, especially you're doing a live, maybe something like this, or teaching people live, or even you're doing a screencast, you probably deal with some of this initial fighting among you and your mind, and somehow you have to kind of overcome it. Completely get that. Good, nice. So, um, in the Day Elevate program from Showcase that we are running right now, the whole point here is to give that push, the required push to everyone to start creating content. Doesn't matter like what kind of content you create, but you start creating. And all this program that we are doing, all this discussion talk we are doing, is just to kind of trigger that point, like why it is important, right? So you told that monetization should not be the first thing that we should think about. Getting the quality content, that what you should be doing it. How much the research matters when you kind of create content, the quality content? How much somebody has to research? I think that's a question that come very often? How much I need to know? How much I need to research?
So, first thing I would say, share the content to be on the safer side. Share the content that you already know, right?
Mm,
So if you've worked with something and you've seen that, like, say if you're if I talk about CSS itself, if you've used a certain property in a certain way and you've created something, then you already know that that's what works. You don't even have to do your research. You've done your research while working, and that's what you're sharing. So I'll say, don't look for new topics to share. That's for later. That's probably the
mm,
intermediate level. Beginner level, share what you already know. Don't share a roadmap for a full stack developer if you yourself are a front end developer, right? What I said is, I submit a talk title which I absolutely know nothing about. Yeah, when I say that, I'm not saying I absolutely know nothing about it. I have a certain idea and I know that I can deliver quality content because I'm much ahead in the game of teaching or content creation. But when I began, I definitely did not dare to talk about something I didn't know, because
mm,
already, what is that, imposter syndrome is something I struggle with. And then I pick a topic that I don't know something about, I wouldn't do that. So you, wherever you are in your developer journey, even if you're very much beginner, there are concepts for sure that you already know about, but many people don't know. So if you're at a beginner level, you don't have to research, is what I'm saying. You already have that experience. You've come through that. Share whatever has gone, whatever you've learned in the past already, whatever that has worked for you. And then when you go ahead, yes, research is very important. My Laravel course that I published in April, I even connected with a
oh, I think she got dropped off. As she was saying in the beginning that she's taking it from phone and it might just run out of battery and she might just get dropped off. This is unfortunate. But in the meantime, let me just go to people who are listening to this or viewing this. If you have any questions in the meantime, you can probably start typing those. Once Shruti join back, I can just post them to Shruti and she can answer those. Or if I know some of the answers, I'll be able to answer those. So please start typing your questions if you have any. We'll wait for Shruti for at least a minute, like if she kind of join back. Okay, I don't see any questions so far. But if you have anything, if you're on the call, please make sure that you shoot them to me in the comment section so that I can actually start reading about it. We were almost at the end of the session. The only question I had, after this one is like, what next for her, what she's planning. Um, but unfortunately, she had to drop off. Okay, she is back. I'm just going to add her to the stream. Okay, look like the battery dried up. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Your
with no
voice
end.
is okay. It's coming now. Coming. Yeah, correct. It's fine.
Better now? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, better. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It went from 2% to zero directly, so I didn't have the time to get the charger.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, we were also coming to the end, and I think you actually gave the answer before you went off. The last question that I had, rather I have, is like, what's next for you? What are you planning next? What are you doing next?
So right now I'm working on the next course of LinkedIn learning. Like just
Hmm.
yesterday it got approved. So I have the beginner course on Laravel, which has done quite well. Even yesterday I shared the stats that 8,500 students have enrolled in that in less than, I think, 8 months. And a lot of people requested for an advanced version of it. So I'm currently working on that, and that takes a lot of effort because LinkedIn standards are quite high. and I want to do a thorough research at this stage, to even say that this is how it's done, because a lot of people will end up learning that because they trust me blindly, and then that shouldn't be wrong, right? So I'm going to
Mm.
collaborate. That's what I think I was saying just before I went off. I did talk to a few developers, if what I'm teaching is correct or not, and I fixed a few things, and I do take feedback from the experts sometimes during my research, not just Google and find out things. So I'm going to do that also for my course. That's one thing. And yeah, a lot of other YouTube videos are in line, a lot more blog posts, and there's another book that I have the title ready for, but I don't have the time to work on it. I badly want to work on it, but yeah, maybe once I complete this course, maybe 5 months or 6 months from now.
Great, great. Yeah, all the best to you for this
You
upcoming
too.
course. I'm sure that it will be really awesome. So there is one more question. How do you collect content for ongoing posting? So basically, I think the question is about how do you make sure that you have enough content and you going for post.
I
How do you
don't.
collect that?
Honestly, on Twitter, that way I have slowed down. I don't have any schedule that says, I post a thread a week or anything like that. Just randomly when I feel something, I learned something that people may not know about, or suddenly I end up using something that I feel like sharing, I do that. Otherwise, yeah, whenever inspiration strikes, I create a draft on Twitter, and then I just save it. Because if you post like 5 tweets a day and then next 3 days you don't do anything, it's a waste, right? Those 5 posts on one day will not succeed, right? But you do the same thing, like morning you share a tweet, evening you share another tweet. That way 2 tweets a day is, I think, great if they are quality ones that will perform better. So that's whenever inspiration strikes, I just make a note of it, and then when I feel okay, there's been a gap, I haven't said anything on Twitter for a while, that's when I look into my drafts and then I post that.
Great. I think there is a request for you, and also that Ravi suggested your YouTube courses to his colleague. Thanks for teaching. Great. I think these are the feedback. These are the validations that a content creator is creating content for.
Yeah,
Is monetization comes last. This is what
yeah.
they are creating the content for.
Yes,
Amazing,
that's
amazing. Thanks, Ravi, for that. There's one more comment. As for me, I started sharing my new learning as blog or that. I think, yeah, whatever suits for an
yes.
individual as a content creator, right? It not only like, I'm seeing that person doing good in video, I have to do video. If
No, not at
blog or
all.
thread is your forte, you just go for that. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's true.
Cool. Awesome. I think that was really, really super. And thanks a lot, Shruti, for your time. And with all the difficulties with mobile and all, you really made it at last. This is a clap for you. So this is great.
Yeah.
And thanks for everyone who joined live and asked questions. In case you are catching up with this video later point of time, so make sure that you follow Shruti on all the social places that she is in. Follow, subscribe to her YouTube stuff, and also, still there is time left for Dev Elevate and on Showcase. You can still join in, take part, and win a lot of stuff by creating content. All right. Thanks a lot. So, good day, good night, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you for being a great host.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye, everyone.